Welcome to Espiritu Coffee Chats, the podcast where we blend wellness, spirituality, and business to help you live with intention and balance.
We're your hosts, Valerie and Arlene, two Latina entrepreneurs here to guide and grow with you.
Welcome back, and we are here with Chris, Valerie's partner. He's also the first masculine energy that we've had on our podcast.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you've broken the veil, and we like to welcome you today. But you've already had a wonderful episode with your partner, Valerie, with your fiancé, all about understanding finances, Bitcoin, and really understanding that journey. And I was in the room listening like a fly on the wall. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's such an eye-opening conversation. I think what really struck chord with me was because I have children and I have a little alpha baby, Delilah, she's 10. And then, I have my oldest and my middle child, but the youngest is 10 and she's a legit alpha child. And just realizing the world is going to be different. And we have to adapt, and it's my responsibility to teach that to our kids, to at least get them set up. So I really appreciated that conversation. So this is just an extension of it,
For sure.
And I think we're just gonna get into the some questions that I have for you too, and then I want to know a little bit more about you and Valerie and how you handle each other with your partnerships, with working with each other. Because I think if I worked with my husband, I'd be like, ooh. But again, sometimes it's it's a yin and a yang. But going back to, I just want to reiterate to the last episode that you were reminding me about, this is something I'm really good at, seeing trends. That's one thing that I think I've never really embodied until now, where I'm like, pay attention to the trends, because every time I've ignored a trend, I'm like, fuck.
The trend is your friend.
Right. I'm like, why didn't I jump on that? I could have been rich a billion times, right? And now everybody who uses Venmo, we know that there's an option for crypto, right? Like to exchange money in crypto. And we're starting to see that everywhere. So it's similar to, like, I would say, as I was listening to the last episode of everybody's like jumping on this AI bandwagon, right? And it's kind of like, look, does everybody want to be on it? No. Does everybody get it? No. But guess what? We got to get on it. Mm-hmm. It's like reminding me I'm an 80s baby. So it's like, when nobody wanted to go on the computer or on the internet.
Exactly.
And then now look, like we can't exist without it. And like you were even saying how, your like being on mobile and how it would take forever to get onto internet. And then now look, it's like literally in split seconds. Mm-hmm. So it's like also thinking about, money, technology, things like that, and being able to adapt and change, because if you don't change and innovate, you're going to get left behind.
100%.
But there are also juicy tips that I did enjoy listening to. Like I thought about my grandpa who invested in real estate, and he left his little legacy through that, was able to, once he passed and my grandma passed, give that legacy to our family. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is because it's thinking outside the box. And so when it comes to financial literacy, literally is you having to take it's not anybody's fault. It's your fault if you don't know, to be honest. That sounds really harsh. But that's just like, in the long run, like you got to be aware of what's coming up. And also what you were saying, I think part of that is intuition, like knowing and trusting that, I'm going to follow this trend or whatever, and hopefully it's something that clicks. But a lot of that usually does kind of go into you being willing to take those risks, and with those risks you learn. But I do think that the dollar bill is definitely gonna melt, like you just said.
It is melting.
It's melting.
Yes.
It's like
slowly but surely.
Frozen. I'm like, great. And those are realities that it's like, wow, like we need to kind of have more eye-opening conversations like that, because our world's changing, it's evolving. We're having different leaderships, different countries come in, talking to each other, changing things.
Yeah, if you think like it's important to understand, like if you think about this whole thing we're doing, right? We are working, we are trying to make money, we're trying to invest, we're trying to live our life. If you imagine, as an analogy, in basketball, there's certain rules in basketball that make the game work.
I'm like, are there? I don't know anything about basketball.
or any sport, like you can't double dribble. If you get fouled, that's where the free throw line is. If it goes out of bounds, like you turn the ball over. Like there are certain rules within this financial system that are like hard coded, that are happening whether you like it or not.
Right.
And if you understand that, then you can more effectively play the game.
I love that you said go look and do some research on the history of of money, right?
Yes.
And when you said that, it reminded me of when I was in school for interior design, and we had to learn a lot about art history. And so with that, though, it wasn't really about history. It was like I learned about the evolution of religion, the evolution of spirituality, the evolution of money, because they have it so much in art. And one of the biggest things was the Silk Road. I mean, back then you would change, or you would exchange for money, in a sense, garments, right? Fabric. And then it was even more expensive if you had a red color or a purple color, like, because dyeing it was just amazing, right? So, and then that went out the window once Constantinople came around and the Roman Empire was built. And so it's like, we're not in a bubble. And in fact, I think we are this generation that's like, actually, we're the ones that are going to have to go through it. We're the ones that are going to have to, we're already going through it in a sense, like our generation from the boomers to now, because the internet and all that stuff. But we, I think, are the ones that are like just the opening paths of like, oh yeah, everything's changing,
Yeah. If you think about it, there was let's call it like after World War II, there was like huge changes took place in the world, and we're going through a similar time right now.
Yeah.
Like I feel like, let's call it every 100 years or so. Like the world looks completely different than it did.
When you have a Uranus return, every 84 years.
That's interesting. Okay. Yeah.
And there's facts that actually back that up. Every time Uranus has a return, which is 84 years, that's when multiple generations have to shift. And
that's cool.
And money is now going through that. So
yes.
It's also just enlightening to think like your world is not a bubble. It's going to get pierced, and which is great and amazing, right? But it's just having conversations of not being left behind, for sure. Yeah. And so going back to your journey with understanding, because I don't know how you do it all. Like you're a business owner with Val, and then you have a regular full-time job, and then you also have time to study and like, take care of your health too. So it's just interesting on how that clearly this is something that's passionate for you.
For sure.
When did this start? Like, were you 5? Were you saving your money at 5?
No, it was probably like right out of high school. Probably when I was like 17, 18 is when I really started to dive deep into money, religion, finance, entrepreneurship. That's when all these doors started to open and intrigue me. Up until that point, like I was more focused on like the acting and like the creative side.
Right. Oh yeah, you do acting too.
Yeah, like the way I like to put it is like environmental health and safety is what I do, coffee is what I love, and an actor is who I am. Those are kind of like the 3 legs of the tripod for how I do it. I feel like one can't exist without the other.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think everybody should have a tripod.
Yeah, have a tripod.
Yeah.
You should have your tripod.
Yeah.
What you do, what you love, and who you are.
Yeah. How do you fit in acting? I feel like that's more of the creative side, where the entrepreneurial side is like that hustle, power, active. And then how you get your bread and butter is there. And then your love for like understanding finances and expansion in that way. That's still pretty heady. It's also intuitive, I feel like. And then you have the creative side of you. Tell us about that. How do you balance that with everything else? Because they're so different.
For sure. The creative side is what's always been there. And I always fall back to it when I feel overwhelmed from the other two. And I kind of like the coffee business and the entrepreneur side because you get to jump back and forth between the two.
Yeah.
You get to play in both spaces, which is why business can be so cool. But yeah, the acting, it's kind of like my happy place. It's like my comfort zone. It's like, it's where it's my escape. It's where I can like explore parts of myself that I don't get to do on a day-to-day basis. I hate talking too much about myself, and I don't, like Val would have said it, like I don't open up that much, but like when I'm in that creative space, whether it in this medium of storytelling, whether it's writing, acting, stage, whatever it is, that's when I like feel like I'm most myself.
Yeah.
That's when all my portals open.
He has arrived. Nice. I like that. And I think it's part, like you said, it's part of you. And so it's nothing that's going to change in a sense. Mm-hmm. How do you see yourself evolving with the business, acting, and yeah, because, you know, we talked about how money needs to evolve. How do you see your next 2 years from now? Let's just give it that, with Surge, with acting, and then, you know, being realistic in a sense.
Yeah, with Surje Coffee, continue to work with Valerie to help grow the brand, grow the business, grow the sales, grow our customer base, perfect the product and the service. And with the acting, I have certain projects that are ongoing. I kind of dabble with it on the side. It's not like something I commit too much of my time to, unless there's like a movie that needs to get shot or something like that, then that takes all the time, literally all the time. But like in the next 2 years, kind of like I said in the first episode, I'm just always paying attention to what doors can open. That's why I'm always kind of like dabbling. I never take my foot out. I always peek through to see what opportunities can come. I'm always just trying to play in that creative space. Like if I feel I'm overwhelmed with the business, if I feel I'm overwhelmed at work, I always have that creative outlet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure needed, especially both sound pretty intense. I'm just sitting here thinking like, basically Surge is like your and Val's baby that you have to nurture and care for, and we both have to play a part in it, and however, and then mom and dad need to have their separate things
for sure,
and all that fun stuff. So I feel like being able to have your business with your partner I'm sure people listening are probably like, wow, how does that work?
Yeah.
Can you share on your end? Because Valerie and I have probably talked about it a little bit, but you know, on your end, what is your advice that you would like to give? What you tell yourself back in 2019?
Yeah, I mean, whenever I told in the beginning, when I would tell people like, oh, I own a business with my then girlfriend, and people's eyes would get big and they'd give me advice like that's not probably the best route to go, and everybody has horror stories. And my experience with Val has been the complete opposite of that. I think both of us believed that we could work together. And what advice I would give if you're working with your partner is, when you're working. Like, there is, just like you would with any coworker, there's a line of respect that you just don't cross with people you work with. Just because we're dating doesn't mean, or just because we're partners, we're in a relationship, we're engaged, we're married.
She's not a girlfriend anymore, she's fiancé.
You just have to have that line of respect and professional courtesy. I don't feel like my fiance is my business partner. I feel like Valerie is my business partner. And Valerie is super smart, super intelligent, super savvy, hardworking. Like, she has all these qualities that I would want in a business partner.
Yeah.
And she just so happens to be someone I'm in a relationship with.
Yeah, I'm gonna make me cry.
So I think the advice I would give is, you got to be able to separate the two. Like, you can't think of it like it's your partner. That's just the added bonus. You have to have that same dynamic relationship, respect you would with anybody else. And I think where people struggle is those two overlap. Because you're in a relationship, because you would say or do certain things at a certain comfort level that might be considered overstepping had they not been your partner, you should not engage in the relationship in that way. Right. You have to keep it separate.
Yeah.
Or at least that's how I see it. And then when we're not working, then we're not working.
That's true. How do you turn off that switch? That's a lot of switches, which are great. And I think that part of that is just building that trust and that foundation for your relationship. Sounds like you guys were pretty strong from the get-go. And then keeping that, nurturing that, and growing that. But I really do enjoy hearing.
Yeah, if you're in a relationship and you guys fight more than you don't, if you don't get along, if you find it difficult to even decide on what to eat, where to go for dinner, what movie to watch,
right?
Like, if you already don't have that foundation with that person, don't start a business with them.
I was also thinking about people are so scared to argue with each other these days because it gets a bad rap. It gets a bad rap in that sense of like, oh, this. Whenever I see a couple arguing, I'm like, good for them. They're hashing it out. Like there's clearly there's like a horrible way, but sometimes those times and places need to happen. And like if I think about me and my husband, I'm like, the biggest arguments that we've ever had were also the biggest breakthroughs that we needed. And so I can also see as like a business partner that it's realistic to be able to get into those moments of communication. And how do you guys adapt with that?
We just smoke a joint.
Easy breezy. Easy, plant medicine man takes care of it.
I mean, like I can think.
I love that.
I can
super
think
easy and tangible.
Dozens of quote unquote arguments we had, discussions where I could have seen them going 1,000 times worse had we not both just smoked a joint.
Yeah.
And then talked it through and then slept on it.
That was not the answer I was expecting.
I mean, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, totally
highly recommend it.
For sure. But I like that because it's your way of coming back down to earth in a sense. And also a way of like stepping away in a sense,
Yeah, I think you touched on it too. There's like a bad way to do it. So I think respect is like the theme when it comes to having a healthy relationship. Like there's just certain lines you just don't cross with another person. Yeah. And if you find yourself crossing those lines, it's going to go bad. Like you don't call each other names.
Right.
Like you just there, you don't get physical. Like there's just certain dynamics in a relationship. If you can just maintain that respect and understand that, like, show them the respect you want to be shown the respect. If you're being shown respect, show it back.
Right.
Like if you just have respect for each other, then your relationship dynamic shouldn't get to a point where it becomes volatile and bad.
Right. Yeah. I think business partners should also look at it as a marriage relationship. You're signing a contract.
Yes, 100%.
And so, what you would do to save your marriage, and everybody's different on what avenues they're open to taking and not taking. I think it's the same thing for a business partner. Like you have to kind of there's times where it's going to get hard and rough, and it's not always fucking a walk in the park, but taking those walks in the park with the joint in hand might help a little. Okay, we're going to leave off with one last question. Sure. This one's a little emo. So what's something surprising you've learned about love through entrepreneurship?
Okay.
You want me to repeat it?
Yeah, one more time.
Okay. What's something surprising you've learned about love through entrepreneurship?
I feel like you need, love is what is your North Star in any situation, in terms of if you encounter adversity, something goes wrong, if you're in a bad place, if you need that extra fire to help you push through. So I learned that it's important that if you are in a business, that you love it. And man, this is not my brain.
Do you need a joint?
Yeah, that would really help with this question.
I think when you were talking, it's funny. I was thinking compass as soon as you said North Star.
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah, I think the part that's throwing me off is I'm interpreting your question as whether or not love is important in entrepreneurship. And I'm having a hard time articulating the actual question, which is what I learned about love through entrepreneurship.
Oh, okay. I like that reframe.
Yeah. So I think that's why I'm struggling with the question, because I'm like, I never thought about that before. I've seen love influencing entrepreneurship, but I never thought of entrepreneurship influencing how I love.
Yeah. And damn, that even hit good for me too.
I need to sit with that. Like I really.
Yeah. Damn, that's a podcast episode. Yeah. That's a good question, because
you asked it.
I know. I'm gonna ask it. And also because you have a partner that you love that is in this entrepreneurship
for sure
realm with you. But I think maybe that's a good way to leave this off. It's like everybody should answer that question for themselves, and that's a good one to go on a journey with. If you want to have a joint in your hand, you can. But that's a good question because I think I might even ask that for myself.
Yeah. Can I leave with an ask? The next guest you have on your podcast, I won't ask them that question because I would be curious.
Yeah. Maybe that's our running podcast question. Yeah, that would be interesting to kind of see how everybody responds and reacts to that. Because I think I felt very similar to you. Like when you said North Star, I was like compass, and I was like, okay. And I was like, actually, I don't really. Yeah. But I was getting into my own story. But yeah, I love that. Maybe
that was a profound question. I'm like in a stoic state right now. And I'm going to be dwelling on that a lot.
Yeah, he's going to go up in his car and put on some Spotify and get in the groove of it. But it's a good question. So whenever you have the answer, let us know.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, we are going to leave off with that. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate learning so much about finance and expansion with that and really diving into our own intuitive North Star, our compass. And just sharing your relationship with having a partner in entrepreneurial, and it happens to be Valerie, my co-host, and just sharing the wisdom, the nuggets that you've been able to share with us, and also reminding us that we need to have a creative outlet. Yours is acting, and that's where it's part of something you're like, fuck yeah, I'm embracing that. I'm not letting that go. I think those are things that it's good to be reminded of. And Valerie and I always say it, but it's nice that we're hearing it from an actual man. Creativity is okay. You can put yourself on stage, do another thing, but I think that's important for our listeners to hear because I think most of them are women. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. You guys are crushing it with the podcast.
Thanks.
I'm very proud of both of you. Keep going. And yeah, can't wait to hear the next episode.
Yay. Stay tuned. Bye. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Espiritu Coffee Chats.
We hope you enjoyed our conversation and found a little inspiration to take with you.
If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform.
And stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more.
Until next time, keep the spirit alive and the coffee brewing. Cheers!